For those of you who have not met me, my name is Almira Hinton, and I am the RN health coach. I serve those, mostly women, that want to get healthy, lose weight, and feel amazing and great. And like I say so many times, get that sexy back. I am here to answer your questions because I know that's one of the challenges when you're looking to get healthy, when you're doing things to get healthy, is to get your questions answered. And like you've heard me say so many times, I'm a part of a lot of different public groups, keto groups, diet groups, getting started with keto, getting started with whole food, beginners groups, all that kind of thing. And the question that I hear all the time is, where do I start? How do I get started? And that can be very challenging because it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. It's not. Bodies are different. People are different. Hormone imbalances are different. And I'm not just talking about estrogen and testosterone. I'm talking about the 6 fat burning hormones and the 3 fat storing hormones. And the number one, insulin. When insulin is out and about, you do not lose weight. Insulin's job is to store energy and to turn any excess energy into store glucagon or fat. Okay. Period. That's it. Can't get around that. And so every body is different and people have different experiences. There's different age groups. There's different types of how much muscle a person has on, what their lifestyle is like, whether or not they're really active or whether or not they're sedentary or what. It's very different. And that's why it's really unfortunate to hear that people that want to get healthy take it in such a light way, to think that just joining a free group where there really is no leader, there really is no mentor, just to join a group and to get recipes. And then when they ask a question, a couple of hundred people weigh in and give their opinions about what that person should do. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not sure that's the way to conduct something so important as your health. You don't do your finances that way. And maybe there are groups that talk about finances. You go in and you go, hey, I got some money. What am I supposed to do with it? You're very cautious about that. People are more cautious about their money than there are about their health. So many times we take it for granted. We leave our health to external forces and we don't covenant and take care of it ourselves, because your health initially starts out with you. And particularly when you're a little child, your parents are taking care of your health, they're feeding you. But when you're an adult and you know the different things and you can learn about the different things that your body needs, the nourishment that your body needs, the exercise that your body needs, the annual checkups that your body needs, we neglect it. We put it on the back burner. And that's it's kind of like, why do we do that? Why do we take our health for granted and leave it to external forces? We just say, I'll go to the clinic, or they'll just not do anything. And that's really unfortunate because you're not living your full and healthy life when you don't do or take care of your health, when you don't take care of it. I'm really happy to see that there are some industries or some businesses that actually incentivize their employees to take preventative treatments, like getting their flu shot or getting a checkup, getting a physical, getting active, getting dental care. Those are all preventative things that really support good health, getting healthy as well as staying healthy. And that's fantastic. I really applaud companies that do that. And particularly if a small business wants to act like a big business, offering services like health coaching to their employees, I would be happy to assist with that. I truly feel that prevention is the way to stop most disease, particularly chronic diseases, in their tracks. As you well know, I harp a lot about type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, and hypertension because they are so prevalent in our society today. They're so very prevalent. And there's so much in our own hands that we can control. We can control how much sugar we eat. We can control how much refined carbohydrates we get. We can control the kind and quality of food that we eat. If you don't pay attention to what you're putting in your body, you will pay for the disease that develops in your body. So pay attention, take the action, and do what you need to do to get healthy, stay healthy, and get things under control. It's all about getting healthy with keto or whole foods lifestyle and getting that sexy back. One of the topics that I cover is healthcare. Where is the health? Where is the health gone in healthcare? I'll tell you, don't forget, maybe 20 years ago, we started seeing ads about hospitals and what they could do. They finally broke the mold and started advertising, talking about how great their doctors and their staffs are. Healthcare is a business. It is a business about taking care of people. Yes, it is a business about health, but it's a business. Everybody wants to get paid. I worked in a hospital for almost 35 years. I've been an RN that long. I had to get paid. All the other staff, people that I work with, they had to get paid. Everybody has to get paid. The vendors that come to the hospital that deliver the food, they want to get paid. There might be places that serve bulk types of food. Those are all vendors. And they don't do charity work. They want to get paid. So a hospital is a business. All the supplies that we need, we placed an order for something. We had to make sure that there was money in our budget to pay for it. Anytime we got a new piece of equipment, we had to budget for it. Anytime a piece of equipment broke down, we had to budget for getting it fixed or replaced. Annual maintenance or whatever the maintenance schedule is for that piece of equipment. The person that did it or the supplies that it took to do that, those supplies had to be purchased, and the person that did those checkups had to get paid. So, hospital or healthcare, it's a business. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be a good business. Doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be an honorable business or a business that acts with integrity. They all should do that, particularly in the hospital, because people's lives are in your hands. People come to us when they're most vulnerable, being in a place where providing care for someone who's very sick and feeling very vulnerable, as well as someone who received care. We need to be on top of our game. We need to reassure people, comfort them, teach them, and support them getting through that illness to get back to wellness or get back to health again. It's very important. It's a very serious business, but it's still a business. So the first thing that you can do is take care of yourself so that you don't wind up in someone's emergency room or in need of lots of medications or having to go to a doctor every few weeks or something like that, or see a nurse or have to get a lot of health care on a frequent basis. You need to take care of yourself. And if taking care of yourself winds up requiring that so that you can get healthy and feel great, then that's what it calls for. But it all starts with you. Don't let the external take away from you your mobility, your independence, your ability, your time to enjoy life. The last assignment that I had at the University of Iowa for 7 years, I managed a dialysis program. That is one of the most burdensome chronic illnesses because once a person gets diagnosed with their kidney failure being so severe that they need dialysis, they come to a center 3 days a week. That's a part-time job. That's 3 days a week on the machine, anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 hours. And that doesn't include the setup, the tear down, making sure they're stable before they leave, and then your transportation back and forth. So you're talking about maybe 5 hours, 3 days a week. So 15 hours a week. That is easily a part-time job, let alone the constraints that it puts on your diet and your social life. Because typically a lot of people after dialysis or just before they get on, they're very tired. They feel very tired. They feel drained. It's a very burdensome condition to have to do that. Or if they choose to do it at home, they can feel a bit better, but still they gotta have the supplies at home. They gotta have the space at home, and they have to do it every day, usually peritoneal dialysis. Even if they have their own machine at home, it still might be a short daily dialysis. Taking care of yourself now so that your disease doesn't force you to take care of it later on. I can't say enough about that. Taking the bull by the horns, looking it straight in the eye and saying, yes, I'm going to take care of myself. Yes, to my health. It is priority one because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't serve your family, community, or businesses when you're running on empty. When your health is the best, you can give tons. But when you don't take care of yourself and your health isn't the best, you're feeling tired and struggling to do every little thing, your brain starts to hurt and you get brain fog. So priority one needs to be taking care of yourself. And I'm not talking about it in a selfish way. I'm talking about it in a way so that you can be a giver, so that you can give and give, but you can't do it if your cup is empty. Okay. If you have a question, please post it in the comments section and I'll answer your question. If you have a suggestion for a topic that you'd like me to do a live on, I'm happy to do that. Whereas the health and healthcare, being a business doesn't necessarily mean it takes the health out of it. But one of the biggest challenges is they have to serve a lot of people. You got to serve a lot of people and a lot of different bodies, and everybody has different needs. All of the equipment and medications, they all serve different audiences and come from different manufacturers. How much education, particularly when you talk about nutrition, because that's huge. Everything usually boils down to nutrition. Physicians don't get a lot of education about nutrition. I think the minimum required is usually like 20 hours. When you're talking about 4 years of med school and another 2 to 5 years of residency, that's not a lot of information when you talk about nutrition and what's going on with the body. Same with nurses. We don't get a lot of information about nutrition. You get something in your basic nursing, but after that, it's just what you study and learn on your own. I did afterwards, really dove into nutrition and how different foods affect the body. But basically, when you're part of a clinic or a hospital, it's turned over to the dietitian. But there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's their expertise. That's what they went to school for. But a lot of the follow-up information or continuing education that a dietitian receives is usually sponsored by the food and beverage industry. It's usually sponsored by the food and beverage industry. So you know that information may sway one way or another, probably the way in their favor. Moderate amounts of high fructose corn syrup won't hurt you. That's just not true. Definitely affects your health. It definitely increases inflammation. But when you have a food and beverage industry putting information out there, oh yeah, we did a study and we didn't find much of anything. It really didn't affect anything. That's just not true. We live in a country where we get so much misinformation, like low fat is the best. Your body needs fat. What are they doing with the fat? They take out of something like yogurt or sour cream, or they fill it with something else. It's usually corn based. That's not good for you at all. They use some kind of emulsifier, some type of bulking agent that's usually corn or soy based that isn't healthy for you. You'd be better off eating the full fat rather than consuming something with the fat taken out and replaced with something unhealthy that causes even more inflammation than the sugar or the fat would do in the first place. So we have so much misinformation out there. The other thing is, particularly when I worked in the clinics, I noticed, and praise those who work in very busy clinics and doctors' offices and those offices that support, they're trying to see people all day long. And usually you're probably pretty lucky if you get 30 minutes. And is that enough to really make an assessment and a treatment? That's the other thing. We treat symptoms. We don't necessarily delve into what's really going on to try and fix that base layer of where the problem is. You come in with a headache, they'll give you something. You come in with a muscle cramp, they'll give you muscle relaxants. They don't delve down to figure out why or what's lacking in your diet to say why you're having muscle cramps. Instead of just giving you a drug and saying, okay, this will take care of cramps, and you go off because you got a drug and it's going to take care of the muscle cramps. It's treating a symptom, and that's where the health goes out of healthcare. We treat symptoms and don't necessarily delve into what's really going on to fix or resolve an issue. So that's where we lose the health out of healthcare. And that's why I say it is your responsibility as the owner of your body to make sure that you keep it in as healthy a state as possible, that you serve it nutritious food so that it can work optimally. Make your health a priority. It is so very important that you make your health priority one. When you lose your health, then you'll figure out how important it is to be healthy. I'm going to touch on several things. The health and healthcare, again, making your health a priority. What do you need to do to get started right now, today, to start your journey on a healthy lifestyle? What do you need to get started? Because like I said, in a lot of the groups that I'm in, I hear a lot of the lay people groups and even some of the fantastic information out there from some gurus, doctors, and people who have really educated themselves on the topic of nutrition. excellent information, really good information. They have programs you can join for a monthly fee, or you can take their full course. But where they fall down is they don't answer your questions. Their groups are so big or into so many different things that you don't get your questions answered. You pay to get a program and they send you to watch videos. Again, the information is really good, but that doesn't mean that you won't have questions, particularly as it pertains to you and your body. So that's where the challenge leads in. There's good information out there, but who's going to answer the question and who's going to see how it pertains to you and how you implement that information? And it's so very important. So having someone in your corner that has a background in healthcare, a 35-year background in healthcare, that can help support you, guide you, and keep you accountable to the things that you say that you want to do can be very helpful. Make sure that you get to that healthy lifestyle that you want to attain. There's a lot of good information out there, but how do you know what the good information is? And how do you know how that information can impact you, can help you, and support you? And above all, keep you accountable to what it is that you want to do. Remember, all diets work and all diets don't work. They fail in the long run because we come in with the attitude of wanting to lose 20, 30, 100 pounds and not with the attitude of to get healthy and lose weight. A healthy body will naturally shed the weight. A healthy body will naturally shed the weight. Get rid of the excess hunger, get insulin under control, get stress under control. Once you get all your six fat burning hormones working in your favor and get your three fat storing hormones under control, you're going to lose weight very easily. Once you have those tools, know how you should be talking to yourself, what you should be looking for, how to read labels, and getting that mindset together. That is very important. It's not just about the diet, and that's what so many programs make it about. It's about the diet. It's about eating this particular food. It needs to be well rounded. It needs to talk about exercise. It needs to talk a lot about mindset and understanding how to change habits where you got the habit from, how to get rid of the habit and replace it with a new habit. How you identify yourself. Do you identify yourself as a healthy person? So we get down to identity. How can we change that identity so you identify yourself as a healthy person, someone that takes up the habits of good health? The nutrition part is a very small part of that get healthy journey. It's a part of it, but it's not everything because, like I said, all diets work, but all diets don't work because they fail in the long run. People aren't able to maintain them because they only looked at one aspect. They haven't gotten a full understanding about nutrition, incorporating, managing stress, incorporating exercise, and getting your mind right to understand who you need to be, healthy lifestyle that you want. If you have a question, be sure and type it in the comment section. If you think this information could help someone, please share it with them. Have them come over to the RN Health Coach page and look. I've got lots of videos. Have them take a look at some of the videos and get to know me. And if you think that I might be someone that could help you in your get healthy journey, I want to work with people that want to get healthy, rid themselves of prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or hypertension and live a healthy lifestyle. Do you think that I could be someone that you would want to work with? Because I want to work with some people who are ready to make the change. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it could be a lot harder doing it by yourself or not getting the right support or the right information that you need to make the choices. So anyway, thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate that so much. If you feel this information has supported you, has given you something to think about, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that and share it with someone. Okay. Stay well and take care. Bye bye.